Hello everybody, it's Carol here at Oak House Journals and it's lovely to be back. Well, I say lovely to be back because you have probably not even noticed that I have been away, and that's exactly what I'm hoping. I've been away for just shy of 5 weeks, and whilst I've been away I've been posting my usual videos up on my YouTube channel. So if you're a regular viewer of mine and watch my channel, you'll have been seeing my videos come online just as normal as if I'm here. I've actually been away doing a fabulous tour of Japan and South Korea. It was a holiday that has been planned for a good couple of years now, and it was even better than we anticipated that it could possibly be. So I thought I would share with you some of the crafting and stationery bits and bobs that I brought back with me from holiday. And I also wanted to tell you of a new project that I have in mind for the next few weeks that I'll be videoing and showing on my channel. Now, more about that project in due course. So this is what I managed to bring back with me in my suitcase. I really can't wait to get playing with all of these bits and bobs. Predominantly, they came from a fantastic stationery shop in the Ginza district of Tokyo, and that's mainly what I've got here in this pile. These two piles here are bits that I found elsewhere on holiday. So I'm going to start off with this pile. So let me just pop these off to one side. So what have I got here? Well, these are two little stickers. One's of a Japanese crane, as you can see there. And this one is of the Kanagawa wave, one of my all-time favorites. And you can probably just make out in the distance there Mount Fuji. And yes, being a true tourist of Japan, we did actually manage to get to see Mount Fuji. So here I've just got a selection of cards, and this one is, as you can see, of goldfish. Now these are a sign of good luck and prosperity in Japan. That's the back. Then obviously Japanese maples. This is reminiscent of cherry blossom, which is one of the reasons why we went to Japan at this time of year, because of the 200 varieties of cherry blossom that they have in bloom at this time of year. And they are only in bloom for literally 3, maybe 4 weeks, depending on what the season is like. And oh my goodness, they are a sight to behold. So I had to get a couple of these. So I've got that very delicate one. Now this is more akin to apple blossom, but it is still representative of some of their delicate pink cherry blossoms that you can see. This one is of a wisteria, and they're all the same on the back, as you can see. And then I just couldn't resist this one. This is more like a UK bramble with blackberries and, well, I was going to say rose hips, but they're definitely blackberries there. Just love this one. All of the bits that I've got here, not necessarily going to be used in my new project. I've got them for various crafting projects that I've got in mind, or just to top up my stash. And this is one that will top up my stash. This, as you can see, are kites. They fly kites in Japan. It's one of their pastimes, and I just thought those were very colourful. This is another cherry blossom, and this is just a little envelope that I picked up. But isn't that gorgeous? And I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see, but these are embossed. So they're slightly raised, dimensionalised, absolutely beautiful. Not sure which way round it should go. I think that's the correct way round. But isn't that beautiful? I also got some writing paper to go with it. There we go. And all of these have got that same design on. A few more cards here. So these are just little postcards. Just thought that was beautiful. Love how they've just done that. And then there's that one. That one, and again the cherry blossom. Beautiful, the colours are amazing on these cards. These are just some little stickers that I brought back, like rub-on stickers. So these are just various copies of Japanese stamps. There's some more there. Now I actually thought these would be lovely to put inside wax seals. And then some more of that wisteria design. And then just some hexagons. They're always coming up in the Margaret Miller challenge pieces or assignments that I do each week. So I just thought I'd have some on hand and be able to use these. The next thing I've got are these lovely little bookmarks. Now there were more in here than I've actually got. I've lifted some out because I needed to share these with Maggie. So even the cover of this is absolutely gorgeous. These are some of the bookmarks that were in there. So I've got the Kanagawa Wave, Mount Fuji again, as you can see. And that's one of the little geishas that was inside this packet here. And then I have these two little ones. These are made on pieces of bamboo. So again, a dragon there and another little geisha there. And then I have these. Now these are absolutely gorgeous. Look at those. Beautiful little sachets, and inside these, if I shake them, is scented crystals, and you hang these in your wardrobe or in your drawer or even in your books. They are little rectangles, but they've got little corners snipped out of this black cardstock just to hold them in place, and I thought they were absolutely exquisite. I got a couple of these little pads. These were so cheap, just £1 each, or the equivalent of £1, and they've got little temple maps on each page. And then this one as well, here's another one of those little pads, and this has got calligraphy and stamps in the top left hand corner and the bottom right. And again, the paper is absolutely lovely, really nice, so that'll be fabulous to write on. And these were a treat. Writing paper and envelopes, and this is Japanese handmade paper with a real maple leaf embedded into the paper, and these are the envelopes. So let me lift one of these out. This is called Sugari washi paper. Look how lovely that is. Absolutely beautiful. You can probably just make out the maple leaf embedded in there. Gorgeous feel to it. So I'll just pop that to one side and pop it back in its envelope or packaging later on. So that's the writing paper that went with it, and even this is just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And that writing paper for a pad here of about, I think there was 20 odd sheets in here, cost me equivalent of six English pounds. And then the other thing that I bought was this handmade paper. Again, it's pre-printed, but it's absolutely massive. Let me move these to one side. I haven't got enough room here. That's the size of it. It is white on the other side, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice had this been printed on the other side, but this is lovely paper, and I'm sure I can copy dye that. So I couldn't resist buying a little bit of that to bring home with me. What I also bought home with me are these other bits and bobs, which, as I've said, didn't come from that same shop that we saw in the Ginza 4 district in Tokyo. This one actually did. Now I'm going to open this in a minute because this was part of this little pile that I had here. So I'm going to open that in a minute. But these items here and these all came from other places that we visited whilst on holiday. This is just a normal hair bobble, but it's been made with kimono silk, and I've got a really lovely idea for something that I can do with that. This is a packet of Japanese tea, but I couldn't resist it. This is fabric and it's absolutely beautiful. The colours are amazing. I take this little wrapper off, you can see how pretty the fabric is, and that's probably about half the size of a fat quarter, but even just the packaging alone, this and this is just exquisite, let alone the fabric. So I couldn't resist bringing that home, and I think this cost me £3. So absolutely beautiful, and I can see that fabric coming in for a project, a sewing project that I've got coming up in the future. Talking sewing projects, I couldn't come home without bringing some fabric with me. So I bought a piece of this beautiful fabric, and again it's the size of a fat quarter. Lovely quality fabric. I have an idea in mind what I'm going to do with this particular piece of fabric, and I'll share that with you in a moment. I also bought this piece of fabric. Just love the colour of this and this delicate detail coming down here throughout the fabric, and again it's the size of a fat quarter. And again this piece here, just beautiful. Slightly heavier weight than the other blue fabric, but just as beautiful in terms of texture and feel. And then in terms of fabric, this final piece, I thought this would be lovely to embroider on. I won't use it for wrapping, but as I say, I will embroider on that in due course, I'm sure. And then I was lucky enough to come across a Japanese vintage bookshop. Oh, it was a wealth of beautiful vintage Japanese books. And oh, if I could have filled a suitcase, I would have brought them home with me. So I treated myself to this little one. And as you can see, the print in it is tiny. I also have this one. If I open it up from the back, quite worse for wear in terms of the outside cover, but I'm not bothered about that because I will be using everything inside. And this is much finer paper, but this is handwritten as opposed to the other one being printed. And I'm not sure if you can see, but look at the top of the pages, there's these little characters at the top of each of the pages. There's some more of those little characters there. And then this one, which was an absolute find, and it's got this lovely closure on the back. And then you open it up, and inside there's this book of handwritten pages. These pages are double-sided, so if I lift them out like that. And this is handmade Japanese paper. It was bound. I have taken a few pages out of this book to share with some friends of mine. So this is what I've got left to play with. And then there were these other pages as well, also tucked inside here. And again, this made up another little book which was tucked inside. And again, I shared some of those pages. So I'm going to actually use this cover at some stage in the future to create a journal with, but for now I'm just going to very carefully look after it and hope that I can keep it in one piece until I can get round to making it into a journal. It's got a little bit of stress cracks and fracturing on the spine on that side, but this one's okay. And then finally, this little journal. Now this is a very contemporary journal, and I bought this at the museum at Ground Zero in Hiroshima or Hiroshima. At the Children's Memorial, people make thousands of origami cranes. They leave these origami cranes at predominantly the Children's Memorial at Hiroshima, but they have so many that they get inundated with them because thousands upon thousands of people leave thousands upon thousands of origami cranes. So very astutely what they do is they recycle those cranes into these notebooks, and I decided that I would buy a pad of this to bring home. And as you can see, it's all speckled because the origami paper is all different colours. So this is a bit of a find, a bit of a treasure from me, and it was a lovely way to commemorate what they're trying to do at the museum in Hiroshima. And then finally, I also have these, but before I get into these, I want to show you this. This is some Japanese handmade wrapping paper that I bought as well. I thought I would use portions of this in my collages and or journals. And And going on to these, I'm going to start with this one first because this is a Goshuincho. Some Japanese who visit temples and shrines get Goshuin or stamps in special notebooks called Goshuincho, and this is a Goshuincho that I bought whilst I was out there. It's a form of religious practice to demonstrate devotion or a pilgrimage. It's a way to record a visit to a particular shrine. Now, the stamps, the Goshuin, are unique to individual shrines or temples, and they include usually a red stamp like this and some beautiful handwritten calligraphy. This would actually be carried around by the particular Japanese individual. They would take it to the shrine, and this would be handwritten for them during their visit at that temple or shrine. It's a concertina book, or we would know it as a concertina book. The Japanese start from the reverse of their book, so that's the front cover, and this particular one has this lovely plastic cover to protect it. And then that would be the first page. Now, this describes what that stamp represents, but this is the actual Goshuin itself, and then subsequent stamps would be stamped throughout the book. But what I thought I would do with this Goshuincho, because I don't particularly like this very shiny, silky style cover, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this fabric and I'm going to recover this. I'm then going to collage inside it along an Asian theme using some of the bits and bobs that I brought back from my holiday. So that's what I'm going to do with that little one. And this one I am going to keep for myself. The other one, this one, I'm going to offer up for sale if anybody's interested when I finished it. But this one I'm going to keep for myself. Now, this one is covered with kimono silk. It's in navy blue. Obviously that would be the front cover. I'm going to start it from this side as we normally would here in the UK. And this again is a concertina book, but oh gosh, the paper inside it is absolutely lovely, and the colour is cream, whereas in the other one it's white, whereas I prefer this creamy colour. So I'm going to be collaging in this one using prompts that I wrote whilst on holiday. Now, I just found an old envelope and I decided to choose some prompts that would work to represent different things or different aspects of our holiday. So for example, cherry blossom, water, torii gates, geisha, shrine, chopsticks, fish, origami, kimono, Hiroshima, samurai, kamikaze. So I'm going to pick one of those prompts at random and just create a collage using some of the beautiful things that I bought whilst on holiday. But I also have one or two other things that I've saved from my holiday. So let me bring those in. This was the wrapping that you saw me take off this little journal just now. So I'm going to save that because I can use it. I bought a wallet whilst on holiday and it came in this little bag. If I can get inside it, there we go. So I'm going to use that. These are all various brochures and bits and bobs. So I've got this little envelope here with a little label on the back. I went to a Japanese tea ceremony, so I kept that little image of a teapot. These are some tickets. Love the colour of these, so I thought I could make use of these in one way or another inside that journal. Just printed on the back, as you can see, but it's mainly the colours that I liked. These were the tickets from some of the trips we went on: Nagasaki, Jeju Island in South Korea, Kobe in Japan, and Hiroshima. So I can be using those. These are just a couple of images out of a book. This is Goshuin stamp for Jeju Island, but at that time I didn't have the notebook to do the Goshuin stamp inside. So if you don't have a notebook, they will give you one of these and you can stamp it. So this was the stamp, and this one as well up there. But I particularly like the back of this card, and I also like the cherry blossoms up there, so I might make use of that. This was a little packet that had some chopsticks in when we were eating some street food one day. We went to the Shiran where they have the Kamikaze Museum, so that was our ticket to get in. And this was the English leaflet explaining what the exhibit layout was, and this was the Japanese one, and I thought both of those were lovely. This was the brochure for the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, so I'm going to use that. And this was a peace declaration that was given on August the 6th last year by the mayor of Hiroshima, so I'm going to be making use of some of that. We went to a tea shop. Sorry, I'm getting cluttered up there. We went to a tea shop, and it had all the different types of Japanese tea, and I thought that was lovely for a colour palette. And there's another colour palette there, another image of a tea or tea being poured again, so lots that I can use on that. This is a brochure for the Golden Palace. Might not use all of these, but I can certainly pick bits and bobs that I want to use. So this was the Shiran Gardens, where the samurai houses are, and the gardens were absolutely unbelievable. So I definitely wanted to keep that leaflet. This is a leaflet for an aquarium. We didn't actually go into the aquarium, but I thought that was absolutely gorgeous, and definitely want to make use of that inside my my journal. This was wrapped around some confectionery, and if I put it like that, you might be able to see the detail on it. I thought maybe I could use this as a transparent flip to one of my collages. This was some wrapping that went round a packet of Japanese rice cakes. So this obviously is Mount Fuji, but just these little bits here and here, and on the back here and here are just gorgeous, so I certainly could make use of that. And this was the elastic that went round the box that held those in place. This was a leaflet for a World Heritage Site, Nijojo Castle. Possibly could make use of that. It's a little bit shiny, so I might not use anything else out of it, but you never know. These I'll come to in a moment because they need a little bit more explanation. That again was some packaging from some confectionery that we bought in South Korea, and I liked it because of the maple leaf on there, and I thought I might be able to make use again of that as a flip. This is just a brown paper bag that I bought something in, and I just thought I'll keep it and use it. It might come in handy. When I got my leather wallet that I mentioned earlier on, I got given this red leather coaster. Definitely want to use that, and I've got a lovely idea for how I can use that. This was part of some packaging, and it goes with this. This was is just the back of a paper bag, and when we were there it was the height of the cherry blossom season, so there's a lot that depicts the cherry blossom. So this bag was a cherry blossom, a decorated bag, and this was tied onto it as well, and I just thought that looked lovely. This was another bag with that design on, like the label on the back. Again, another bag, love that. So I thought I could use it. Another bag here. Again, another paper bag. Those lovely vintage books that I bought were wrapped in these bags, and definitely want to make use of these. So I've got two of those. That's a little bit big, so I might just use portions of that. And then this was a brochure of the Golden Palace, showing the cherry blossoms and the festival that they have ongoing at the moment. Probably is just about ending now, but spectacular in this particular park when it's all lit up at night, and all the trees are underlit with lights, which gives such a magical display to them. Absolutely exquisite. And then this was an exhibit brochure for Hiroshima. This is all in Japanese, but it explains some of the exhibits. I'm not going to open this up because some of the images are pretty harrowing in here, as you would imagine they might be, but I brought it home to have a better look at it, even though I don't speak Japanese. Having been there for 3.5 weeks, I'd like to say I'm absolutely fluent in Japanese, but we did manage to pick up quite a good vocabulary of words whilst we were out there. It's not a difficult language at all to actually speak, although to write it is definitely another thing altogether. And then finally, these. Now, when you visit Japanese shrines, you can buy tokens or prayers that you can offer up to your loved ones, all for a wish. So I've got that packaging to use. These are just little ingots, fairly flat. They're a couple of millimeters, and they are just little images of some of their deities. So I thought they might be handy to have. Whether I use them or not, as I say, I don't know, but I just thought they might be nice to include as a focal element on a page. If you don't buy these to carry around in your purse or wallet or handbag, you might buy one of these. Now, this is a little very thin metal bookmark. The black behind it is the card, so the gold is the size of the actual bookmark. It can be used as a bookmark, it can go into a wallet, handbag or purse, as I say, and it's just a memento of a particular shrine that might be dedicated to a particular deity that you revere, or you might carry it around just as a souvenir. So I particularly like this one of this particular shrine. It was down the back streets in Tokyo. We just happened to come across it, and it was just absolutely exquisite. I love the fact that it had the cherry blossom on it, and even on the card behind it's got cherry blossom. So I wanted to have that, and I'll definitely be using this as a focal element in my my collage journal in due course. It would look lovely just on the front as a focal element, but I will be using it inside. And then even on the back it's got some lovely characters there, but I've bought it because I want this image on the front. When you visit some of the shrines, you can leave offerings and wishes and prayers, either for deceased people or just as prayers and offerings. They might be in paper, they might be in card like this one, or they might be in wood. They're not always long like these are, they might be in various shapes. So whilst we were there, they were predominantly in the shape of cherry blossoms. So you would pay, say 100 yen, and you would buy one of these, and these are like prayers, and you would fold these up and then you would tie them either to a tree or to a rope or somewhere designated at the shrine for leaving these as offerings and prayers. So I've got several of these that I can use. And I've also got a slightly harder one here. Now this is cardboard. I would have paid more for this one than I would for the paper ones, and if you bought one of the wooden ones, then obviously you would pay more for those. I'm not going to take this one out of its protective sleeve because it's a very tight fit and it won't come out, so I'm going to have to rip open this packaging, but I'm hoping that you can see, if I do that, what it looks like. So I've got that I could use in this. And then finally, if you wanted to leave money as an offering at the shrine, then you would buy a particular card at the shrine or at a stationer's shop and take it to the shrine. Inside the card there would be an envelope, and you would put some yen inside the card, and then you would pick a sentiment to go on the front of that card, and that's what these are. And these attach to the front of the card, and then you would leave them at the shrine. So I've got a couple of these. So I've got lots of bits and bobs here, in addition to the other bits and bobs that I purchased, that I can use inside this lovely little journal, and I'm really looking forward to picking some of those prompts and creating my collages over the next couple of weeks. This one will be very personal to me, and I will definitely be keeping this one. This one, when I've done it, if anybody is interested, please let me know, because I will offer it up for sale at the end. But I will be using bits and bobs that I've brought back, either from this pile or the pile that I showed earlier, in both of these journals. So there we go, everybody. That's details of what my new project is going to be over the forthcoming weeks. I hope you have time to join me and watch me create these little holiday collages in these two journals. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Happy crafting. Take care. Bye bye now.